Find the hole and fill it. Hey, we'll be talking about it on this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business. Hey, welcome back, folks. It's great to be here. Having a good old Monday. We are getting great weather. The rains have started to stop a little bit. We haven't had a lot of rain this year compared to the last 3 to 4 years where we've had 70 and 80 inches of rain. I think we're back down to a normal cycle or about 60 inches of rain in the summer. And we just had a relaxing day yesterday. On Sundays, we normally just after service, we end up going to one of their grandparents' house, either to mine or my wife's every other week, and so they can hang out with the kids and, you know, the family can be together. And other than running a pest control business, doing a podcast, and whatever else I get involved with, usually it's just spent with my family, and that's pretty much it. We don't do a whole lot more than that. Just trying to relax. On Sundays, I tell my wife, you know, the day is yours. Whatever it is you want to do, I don't have an agenda. I'm not allowed to carry my phone on Sundays because, you know, I'll get my hand slapped. But other than that, we just have a good old time with the grandparents. My mother made some her Cuban black beans and rice and white rice and vaca frita. If you don't know what vaca frita is, it is a fried cow. And we take inside skirt steak and we cook it in a pot with some herbs and spices, and then we shred it and take a frying pan and put it on a frying pan, get it nice and crispy and with crispy onions, and serve that with a side of black beans, rice, and whatever it is you want to put on that plate. And it is just awesome. If you've never had it, look up the recipe for it. You're going to be very, very happy. Other than that, I like to give out a shout out to a cool bunch of guys. Brian Baird and Steve Jackson. They're the co-host of the Arthur podcast, and they have another pest-related podcast for the industry, and these guys are a hoot. They gave me a shout-out over the weekend, and I listened to their podcast. I never saw it. I looked for one, and I didn't see one, and I saw theirs, and I listened to it, and what a great bunch of guys. A ton of fun. Very funny show, very entertaining in the pest industry. And I want to give them a shout out because, it's a really cool podcast. They got a really cool website. Go check them out at arthropodcast.com. I'll put a link up on the show notes so you guys can check them out too. But there's no competition here, guys. This is just a ton of fun for me to do. And, it's a totally different media, what they're doing, and they're doing a co-hosting, really, really fun show to listen to. I had a blast listening to it on the drive home from my mother's house, and kudos to you guys for what you're doing and what you're doing for the industry. And I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it and hope you do too. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to people who are liking us on Facebook. They're finding the podcast and they're liking. We're getting lots of likes. And I wanted to give a shout out to Kelly Dan Traynor Rustin at Monitor Pest Control in Sugar Hill, Georgia. And I got to take a look. They liked us, and we looked at their website and their Facebook page. And really neat, really nice. Done some great things, which goes in line with what I wanted to discuss today. And one of those things is finding your niche. And you may be saying, what is a niche? Most people pronounce it niche, but it's actually pronounced niche. And it's according to Webster's dictionary, it is finding a place or a hole to put something in, like a statue. So it's a particular place or hole in the wall to put something specific. Also, it is related to career and finding the best job suited to fit you. So in the professional world, we probably know this better through medicine. Medicine is one of those things that you have an MD who's a medical doctor, but he's a cardiologist, and he's also a vascular surgeon. I mean, talk about really, really being, just very focused and very niched. And I think the secret to any business in the future, and we've been seeing this more and more and more and more over the years, that those who specialize, those who have a specialty, are the ones that are really, really going to do very well. And just to give you a little bit of me, for years when I started out in this business, I didn't know that I was branding myself and that I was creating a niche in what I was doing, because my specialty just turned out by serendipity. This is not something that I planned. I came into this business, I was not a pest control guy. Totally different career. And I started doing basically a lot of shrub work, a lot of ornamental work, a lot of palm work, not a lot of lawn. Most of the companies that are in the ornamental field are mainly lawn care companies. And I didn't have in the properties that we were doing, these are what are known as zero lot homes. They're, between 6,000 to 7,000 square foot lots with 4,000 square foot homes on them. Very little, you got maybe 6 feet to one side, 6 feet to the other, and then the back. And these people are mainly, what we do here is a lot of ornamentals. Well, we have a lot of diseases. We have a lot of pests. And most people didn't know or still don't know how to do a lot of ornamental work, and they don't like it. What I find when I talk to most pest control guys, they want nothing to do with ornamentals. And since I've always made a living out of doing what other people don't want to do, and find it enjoyable to do what other people don't want to do. I mean, one of my favorite shows on television that I love to watch is Dirty Jobs. You find all these crazy jobs that people do that, as he says, without them, life would be impossible for society. And I enjoyed working with the plants. I've always liked working outside. I'm not a cubicle guy. I hate being indoors. And I found it to be very, very stimulating, very, very challenging, which is one of my biggest things. The biggest problem I had with working in corporate America, working in any job, is that I would get really bored of the job once I had a handle on it, once I knew what I was doing, and once I was getting good. I just hated being there. I wanted to constantly be working on new projects, and most people hate change. And I thrive on constant change. So for me, it was just so awesome that we would have this new pest, and then this other pest, and this other pest, and this other pest, and the diseases and the deficiencies. And I just enjoy research and development. I enjoy trial and error. I just get a challenge out of that. So I started getting a niche in getting a reputation for a guy that could fix plants. But unbeknownst to me, that what other people, I also did GHP and I did lawns, and people weren't calling me for their general household pests for their homes. And I told them, why aren't you doing your pest control with me? And I find out they had another company. It says, I didn't know you did that. I thought all you did was plants, because I niched myself. And since I enjoyed it so much, I never made a big deal out of doing GHP. I never focused on it. I never went after it. I didn't have a particular desire for it. And that's been my, the niche that I found that I enjoyed. And I talked to a couple of other pest control people that I know very well that are niched in other areas like commercial. And they love doing commercial. They hate doing residential indoor, but they love doing commercial indoor. And they found something that suits their personality. And it suits their the way they're wired. And I think that's vitally important because some people fall into a job and they don't enjoy what it is that they're doing. They're just doing it because it's a job, because they have to do it. And a lot of people are good at a lot of things. I was good at a lot of things. I've been all my life around home improvements. We had a landscape company. I had a pool service company. But those didn't challenge me. It was simply work that we did, and we got clients. So at about a year and a half ago, I decided, you know what? I don't enjoy these other businesses. I don't enjoy what I'm doing there. There's no real challenge. And I got rid of them. We sold them off. And I just stayed with the pest control business. And something that I've been working for a long time on with a lot of people is finding more natural ways of doing things. And that became a challenge for me for years, that I worked on that. And being able to use natural products and different types of things. So we rebranded the company and renamed it to where we are today. But it happened because I found something that I was really passionate about. And if you're not passionate in this business, the money really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I mean, I could go make the same amount of money or more money doing something else. It's not really about the money. It's about the challenge. And that's what I enjoy. And it's one of those things where that niche, if you really are going to be good, you got to find something that differentiates you from your competition. And some people want to be so radically different that they're not recognizable. You can't be so different that you're not recognizable, that nobody knows what it is that you're doing. They got to get an understanding of what it is that you're doing. When I checked out Monitor Pest Control and I saw their van, I saw their branding. They're very good. I mean, whoever did their branding, very nice, very clean, very easy. And here's what they wrote on the side of their van. Okay, they got this little Ford Transit, very eco-friendly. And what stuck out to me was how niche they were and how they know and understand their client. And they're still doing GHP. I don't think they're doing anything different, but they're doing something that separates them enough to get them an exclusive clientele without being elitist. More detailed service is what they put on the side of their van. Less chemical usage and less scheduled services. Now, there's two types of people that I've met out there as clients. One is everybody wants personal attention. Nobody wants a distant type of attention. And they put more detailed service. So they take pride in being detailed, not like sometimes like a big box company that they have so many people on their route. And I hate to beat up on them, but it's not really, it's what everybody's noticed and what everybody's telling us down here. And like I said, I don't know. I lived in Ohio and I managed a restaurant. We had Orkin up there and it was great. They had great service. The guy came in, he was never rushed. He always came in around the same time, around 7:00 at night, and he did his thing. We never had a problem. He was great. But it seems like it depends, I guess, on the market. And in major cities like ours, that everybody's in a rush, that whole thing about personalized service has been lost. And I've been able to capitalize on that. And I saw that, and he says, less chemical usage. And I get two types of clients on that. I want some kind of, no, I want you to use more chemical. You didn't spray here, and you didn't spray there. It's like, it got to the point where we don't do any indoor spraying. We don't do it at all. Unless we absolutely have to, flea, tick, a bed bug, something that requires us to do some type of spraying, we don't do it. And less chemical usage. And they're targeting that customer that doesn't want all those chemicals in their house. Less scheduled services. That's the third thing. And what they did is they're looking for a customer who's busy, doesn't have time to every other month make an appointment. So they're probably doing a quarterly service. So they're targeting busy people who don't want chemicals in their house, and want personalized attention. It's a very upscale type of clientele that they're serving. And they're niched. And you see that just by those three things, that they don't have a lot to. This is the company I want. And they're looking for customers that are looking for that specifically. Why? Because now they're a good fit for each other. This is the service we provide. This is the service you expect and you want. And we're a fit and we know what each other is expecting without having to do so much. So they differentiate themselves. They also provide a once-a-year service, pest control. And that might work real well in Sugar Hill, Georgia. It doesn't work very good down here. I tried it. But over there, hey, that's a great thing. So people don't want to be bothered. They want to be living pest-free. And this is what they're providing. They're very, very niched. But we can get even more niched than that. Let's look at a company like Mosquito Joe, who is very, very precisely niched. And Mosquito Joe is only does one thing: mosquitoes. You're saying, well, how can you make a living off of just mosquitoes? How can you make a living just off of mosquitoes? And what they're targeting is they're targeting that client that's really the only problem they have. And mosquitoes is the biggest thing that annoys them. And second of all, the way they've been able to structure their business as a franchise makes it very, very easy to operate for anybody trying to get into that kind of a business. Not only that, it makes it very easy to learn, makes it very easy to manage and operate, because you do not need highly skilled technicians for that type of niche. So it's also seasonal. So if you might have this business, but you're also, maybe you're a firefighter and you have a lot of days off, and this is a perfect side business for you. It's seasonal. It doesn't take all year to do, and they know exactly who their customer is and who the franchisee that's buying it, what they're looking for. You see? So that's the idea of niching, is that you got a specific clientele and a specific group of people, because they're seasonal. So let's say you're in a place where it gets cold and snows, but who's off in the summer? Well, college kids, high school kids, and they can hire college kids for seasonal work. And then that's it. When the season's over, they're done. And that's how they brand it, and that's how they market it, and that's how they sell it. And everybody knows what it is they're getting. There's a quote from Benjamin Franklin that gets misquoted a lot. He wrote, "Jack of all trades," most people pronounce it Jack of all trades, master of none. And that's for the person that's trying to do everything, but doesn't really have a specialty. He actually is misquoted. What he actually said was, "Jack of all trades, master of one." And what he implied by that was that every cultured person should be able to have discussions about everything, but they should be an expert or a master in one thing, not in many. And that is the key to being niche. Another great company that I love, that I look at and I look up to, is a company like Steri Tech. Now, Steri Tech doesn't do residential. They do mainly commercial, and they do commercial that requires a high degree of sterility in those type of accounts. And down here, I know a couple of their techs. They're a great company. They have a specific niche that they do, and that's all that they do. And they're very good at it. So how do you decide what niche to be in? And that's going to depend on something that complements your talents, your aptitude, and your attitude. And too many people are trying to do things that other people are doing because it seems to be working for them. And they're trying it out, saying, well, maybe I should try to get into mosquitoes. Maybe I should try to get into ornamentals. Maybe I should try to get into this. I've seen a couple of guys online that all they do is snakes. And they're in a part of the country where snakes are a big deal. And all they do is snakes. They don't trap anything else but snakes. They're snake experts. And they niche themselves. And the problem is that most people, what they think is, well, if I niche myself, then I'm cutting myself out of a lot of things. And what I've learned that the most successful businesses, the most successful companies are those that have learned to do less and not more. By being highly specialized, they produce better results in that one area that they're in than other people trying to do 2 or 3 things. You can be only excellent and really good at one thing. You can be okay at 2. You're going to be a disaster at 3 because it's just too much to manage. And I see it all the time down here with a lot of companies. All of a sudden, they decided to get into the GHP business when they're an ornamental company. And it's disastrous because their people aren't trained and it's a totally different animal. And trying to get a staff and a sales crew to sell both services, very difficult because one is a lower end, lower margin, lower sale item, and the other one is a higher margin, higher sale. And what they wanted to do is, what I've learned like from companies like ServiceMaster, is that they do not try to mix everything together. They own separate companies that do separate niches in those different markets. And that, I think, my friend, is going to be the secret in the next 10 to 20 years because the industry is changing. The attitudes of people are changing as people become more educated about pest control, as IPM becomes more apparent, as more natural products become available. People are going to be looking for different things. And I'm just to give you an idea of what I see in the marketplace and who is the group of people that is going to be the largest segment of our society in the next couple of years. And that's the elderly. In geriatrics medicine, there are very few specialists, and more have to become specialized in this area. Suppose you started a pest control business focused on the needs of that market for the next 20 years. It's not short-lived. There's more people, but those people right now, if you've got a separate, that's just to give you an idea of something, what is a niche, and focused on that, and you were only a little guy, and maybe you're not looking to be a big company. Maybe you're looking to be a solopreneur who decides he doesn't want to have employees. He just wants to do his business. And a lot of technicians are that way. They're not entrepreneurial. But you can be entrepreneurial in a smaller way. And that's what I think that is going to be, it's been our key to weathering really hard times because people will seek us out, people will refer us because of our specialty. And we also do other things that we discover that as we do ornamental pest control and we do lawns and what we do, that the other pests stay under control too. And so people now give us their residential and we make it part of our package. When we do your lawn and your ornamentals, we also do the residence and we push that very hard. But we rarely, with our system and the way we do things, we rarely have to do any indoor service at all. So we're almost exclusively an outdoor company providing even the indoor service where we rarely have to do anything for that client indoor. And I think we've been able to niche that. We've also been able to niche our process and the way we do things and our image. And little by little, we still have a long way to go. But the important thing is that you recognize and you start looking for what it is that you're passionate about. What is it that you're being guided to, and be able to move towards that. So I thoroughly enjoyed being here with you guys today. I hope that you guys take away from this something that is applicable. Because I know a lot of times it's find your niche and fill it, find a niche and fill it. And it's just very, very just, simplistic. But it's everything starts with a plan and a process. And on the next edition, I'm going to be discussing that, how important it is to be able to plan and have processes and procedures in order to make your business run more efficiently, more effectively. So guys, it's been real. It's been fun. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.